Story of a fugitive bank robber living an ordinary suburban life for more than 50 years made a big splash when it hit a couple of years ago, but his family wanted no part of it.
So when the news first broke in 2021, my mom and I spoke to nobody. And none of my dad's friends did either because we asked them not to.
Over time, daughter Ashley Randall began having second thoughts about keeping silent.
And it felt like I was losing my dad all over again. That somehow Tom Randall, my amazing dad, was being erased by Ted Conrad because of one day in his life. And I wanted to be able to tell the world who my dad was.
So when Neon Hum Media, a podcast company in LA, approached Ashley about telling her dad's story, she signed on. The result? Smokescreen, My Fugitive Dad.
Ted Conrad, it turns out, was a mystery even to those who knew him best.
There's a few times in your life as a reporter and as a storyteller where you have the privilege of being involved in somebody's story the way that I was able to be involved in Ashley's story.
For Ashley, making the podcast was a leap into the unknown, a fact-finding journey about a man she thought she knew.
My heart just breaks for him because I realize how much he carried and how much he sort of shielded my mom and me from in giving us this amazing life. And I don't mean giving us an amazing life in the sense of material things. I mean in the amount of love that he gave us.
Still, Ashley Randall's sweet dad is the same person who robbed a bank in Ohio and without any word or warning, walked out on his loving mom and siblings and vanished from their lives forever. Though there were indications that he thought he might only have to hide out for 7 years.
He thought there was going to be a statute of limitations. What he didn't realize is once you're indicted, there is no statute of limitations.
Pete Elliott, U.S. Marshal for the Northern District of Ohio, concedes that once Ted Conrad committed himself to a life on the lam, he did it to perfection.
What he didn't do is talk. And usually with a lot of these individuals, they talk to somebody about something at some point, and that usually comes back to us. He, as far as a fugitive goes, Ted Conrad was very good at what he did.
Sometimes it's tough when I talk about him because I looked for him for a lot of years. He was the best friend I've ever had.
Russ Metcalf, Ted Conrad's best friend growing up in Ohio, is not surprised to hear that Tom Randall was a good family man with a wide circle of friends.
Ted was the same person. He had a lot of friends. I was happy because I found out he hadn't been running all this time. And despite the crazy thing he did, he deserved a good life.
This is about people knowing Tom Randall. And when they think of Ted Conrad, yes, they think of the heist, and he's one of Ohio's most wanted fugitives. But he's also the guy who made my lunch every day and made sure he left work early in order to take pictures with me when I went to my senior prom. He was my favorite person, and I miss him every day, terribly.
What a story. And in the 7-part podcast, My Father the Fugitive, you hear from those that knew him back in Ohio.
Right, his friends, as you heard from some tonight, family members, even a former girlfriend, all of whom say, look, we were so sad that we lost him from our lives, but happy that he found his way to a decent and a seemingly happy life as well, despite all of that past. Amazing story. That is Chronicle for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. I'm Anthony Everett.
And I'm Shayna Seymour. Have a great evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Good night, everyone.